Hogwarts Legacy did a lot of things right. But the most important thing it did right probably slipped past most people. By accepting the main character of the game to Hogwarts as a non-traditional 5th-year student, the Hogwarts administration has shown they are willing to enroll older students if they possess enough magical aptitude. Which means that there's still a chance, however slim, I'll be receiving an enrollment letter from Hogwarts at some point. So with renewed hope, I decided to play Hogwarts Legacy to see what my life will be like when I'm accepted as a non-traditional student. After an eventful opening, where your character is attacked by a dragon, enters a vault in Gringotts, and solves ancient magical puzzles, you finally arrive at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, albeit a bit late. You're rushed into the Great Hall to participate in the sorting ceremony, an annual tradition where new students are placed into their Hogwarts house. I was pumped to be vicariously sorted into my Hogwarts house through my character, because I knew he would make a fantastic Hufflepuff, just like myself. And when the sorting hat was finally placed on his head, it loudly proclaimed, "Hufflepuff," filling me with a sense of pride, which was a bit confusing for me. Why did I care so much about being sorted into Hufflepuff, especially in a video game? Moreover, why do so many people care about being sorted into their own Hogwarts house? After some research and deep introspection, I came across a psychological framework called social identity theory that can help you understand how your association with your Hogwarts house and other groups can actually shape your own identity. This is what I learned playing Hogwarts Legacy. Even if you only have a passing knowledge of the Harry Potter series, you're probably familiar with the 4 houses you can be sorted into in Hogwarts Legacy: Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. What social identity theory suggests is that your association with these groups influences your attitudes, perceptions, behaviors, and interactions with others. And those group influences ultimately help you develop your own identity and sense of self. It's obviously a bit more complex than that, so we're going to break down social identity theory into its 3 core elements: social categorization, social identification, and social comparison. We as humans have a natural tendency to categorize ourselves into groups based on shared characteristics. These can be things like race, gender, or age, but categorization can also be based on other similarities, like hobbies, interests, or values. Think of the sorting ceremony in Hogwarts Legacy. In order for your character to get sorted, or categorized, into one of the Hogwarts houses, they must share certain characteristics or personality traits with the other students in the house. Gryffindors are daring and bold, Slytherins are ambitious and cunning, Ravenclaws are intelligent and creative, and Hufflepuffs are hardworking and loyal, which is a perfect example of social categorization. Social categorization allows us, and others, to make quick determinations about people based on the groups they associate with. I can't tell you how many times throughout the game someone said something along the lines of, "That shouldn't be a problem for a hard-working Hufflepuff like you." There isn't any malicious intent behind categorizing me as a hard-working Hufflepuff, but relying too heavily on social categorization can lead to incorrect assumptions, distorted views about a group's members, and stereotyping. So just be cautious as you categorize yourself and others. Even though the sorting hat does the bulk of the categorization for you through the use of its magical insights in this specific situation, the sorting ceremony demonstrates how you would sort yourself into a group based on your shared characteristics with other group members. The other thing to consider is the sorting hat does take your preference into account. So if you feel like your beliefs and values align with a specific house, you can choose to categorize yourself into that one, just like you can do with groups in your own life. Once you've categorized yourself into a group, in my case, Hufflepuff, you'll start to see that your association with the group influences your values, attitudes, and behaviors, and how you internalize them as part of your own identity. This is the second core element of social identity theory, social identification. So what does it mean to identify as a Hufflepuff? Well, If you give it a quick Google search, you'll find there are some key qualities that Hufflepuffs exhibit and value, many of which are the very same things used in the categorization process. Hufflepuffs value hard work, loyalty, patience, kindness, fair play, and humility. By associating with Hufflepuff, their group norms and values become your framework for understanding what you should value and how you should act. For example, we've established that being humble is something valued by Hufflepuffs. So, if you were to beat someone's record on the flying course, like the new 5th year does, you wouldn't brag about it. You would be gracious in your victory, because that's a value that exists within Hufflepuff. Where another house, like Gryffindor or Slytherin, may boast, brag, or try to make them feel inferior. Essentially, Hufflepuff's values start to become your own, and inform how you act in social situations. And the more time you spend identifying with a group, the more you'll start to see yourself as part of that group. In my character's case, a kind, loyal, and humble member of the Hufflepuff house. Another key piece of social identification, and arguably the most foundational, is that identifying with a group gives you a sense of belonging. It feels good to associate with people who feel and act in a similar way to you. It helps create connections with one another and reinforces that we're not alone in the way we think, act, or feel about certain things, and that feels good. Now I'm gonna hit a bit of a bludger your way regarding social identification. You have more than one social identity because you associate with more than one group. And all those social identities exist within you at the same time, but become more prominent or salient depending on what situation you're in. Think of my character's identity as a Hufflepuff. It's much more prominent when he's at Hogwarts, because he's in an environment that constantly activates that social identity with things like color-coded wardrobes, unique common rooms, and a slightly unhealthy passion for badgers. However, if the new 5th year went back to London, their identification as a Hufflepuff would most likely become less prominent. It's still there, but not being activated as often because it's competing with other social identities the character has in London. But let's be honest, being a Hufflepuff, even outside of Hogwarts, is great, and the other houses just don't understand how awesome being a Hufflepuff truly is. And that leads us to the final element of social identity theory, social comparison, where you compare your own group to other groups to see how you stack up. If you asked anyone who's invested in the Harry Potter series which house is the best, I have no doubt that most of them would choose the house they identify with, and go into an explanation about how the other houses just aren't as good as theirs. They may cite the characteristics of the students within it, the famous wizards and witches it's produced, or the achievements their house has demonstrated over the years compared to the other houses. My Hogwarts Legacy character could claim that since Hufflepuff has produced the least amount of dark wizards, that makes it better than the other houses. While a Slytherin could say the reason that's true is because Hufflepuffs are less talented wizards compared to a house like Slytherin. Even Ravenclaw may view Gryffindor's headstrong and reckless nature worse than their own wisdom and more measured intellectual pursuits. Comparisons like this happen across groups all the time. But if that's the case, then why do we do it? Well, the reason we use social comparison comes down to our self-esteem. We want to be part of a group that has a lot of value, and you can establish that value by comparing your group to others. These comparisons can establish that members of your own group are inherently better than others not in your group due to your shared identification, which can lead to a sense of loyalty to your group and favoritism among its members. That's why you may get a bit energized or excited when you hear someone else belongs to your Hogwarts house, or a bit defensive when someone doesn't. It all comes down to feeling good about your own identity. What's also important to understand is that social identity theory helps frame how things like prejudice and discrimination can happen through categorization, identification, and comparison. Social identity theory is such a deep and complex topic that it can't be explored entirely in a 10-minute video. So I want to encourage you to dig a little deeper into this topic using Hogwarts Legacy as a framing device. Having the 4 Hogwarts houses as categories is great for quickly making assumptions about people's interests and values. But it's important to recognize the characteristics valued by each Hogwarts house are not exclusive to its members. So even if you identify as a Hufflepuff, you can be brave, intelligent, and ambitious. And that's it! Was that a dense episode or what? I think I need a butterbeer. In the meantime, let me know what house you ended up picking for your Hogwarts Legacy character and why. If you liked what you saw today, I'd love for you to subscribe and come back for the next one. Until then, see you around.